Okay, hi everyone. Here I've got with me Kevin Lim, who's a client of mine. He's just bought, just telling me before we started hitting record, he's just bought a property for 415,500. The rent at market rate, once he can get it up to market rate, will be 380 a week, which means that it's positive cash flow on an interest-only basis. Right now, it's likely to give him, well, it will give him positive cash flow after depreciation, but that will just continue higher and higher even before depreciation. Look, the point of this video, guys, is to really, for me to ask Kevin those questions that you want to ask, those questions that he wished he knew the answers for, let's say 4 months ago or 6 months ago. He's obviously a client to the Property Investment Accelerator, but we're trying to provide some value to everyone. So if this is something that you find valuable, if you're just scrolling on realestate.com, not really knowing what to do, not really knowing how to approach property investment, if you're just going around in circles, and hopefully this video brings a ton of value, and hit subscribe, hit the like button if it does. But anyway, enough with that. Kevin, welcome, and thanks so much for making the time for this.
Pleasure. Nice to be here, PK.
No worries. So maybe just start. I mean, we're talking before offline, but like 6 months ago or 4 months ago, or maybe even 12 months ago, what was your property experience or property background before you did the Property Investment Accelerator? Like, how were you researching? Why were you researching? Why are you doing all this in the first place?
For sure. So, I mean, 12 months ago, let's just go off that. I mean, I had very little experience. It's always coming from he said, she said, word of mouth from friends, asking you to go down, black holes and tunnels on YouTube, you name it, right? To find out what is those key factors to find or to look for when purchasing a property. And yeah, it was, again, scrolling through constant pages on online research, not knowing whether or not it would be fruitful at the end of it. So yeah, that was my biggest struggle. And coming across yourself, PK, after that and doing this course, it obviously educates you and brings you that knowledge and that extra the extra points of what to find and on what to look for online when you're looking for an investment property, basically.
Yeah. So you're doing like lots of I don't know, research on YouTube and articles and stuff. Like, how long were you doing that before you sort of came to the conclusion, presumably, that like this is not really going anywhere, I'm just kind of wasting time? Yep. Was that the conclusion, or like, tell me about that experience?
That's what it was. It was, to be honest, it was years and years. And
really? Okay.
Yeah, too long. It comes down to the point of, you're not taking that extra step or that jump because you're not confident. You don't know what you're looking at. Yeah. To make that jump off the cliff, to dive into the right avenues and the right paths of data to look into. So yeah, I was looking on that for years, and eventually I just got over it. You push stuff to the side, you forget about it, and then you lose interest. Yeah. In looking at investment property, if I had known of the information that I have now prior, I could have had a portfolio ages ago, which is the ultimate dream, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
there's a saying that the best time to invest in property was 10 years ago, and the second best time is now. But
that's right.
It's one of those things. So like, I didn't actually ask you this off air, but like, did you have some hesitancy or like, before you signed up to my course, were you in doubt whether it would work? What was kind of your mindset before spending all those thousands of dollars on the course?
Of course. And just like, I think most like everyone, I'm quite cautious, and I'm always, doing my due diligence before signing up for anything online, right? So I was a skeptic,
Yeah.
It wasn't until a friend referred me to this, and, they've gone through, or they've commenced some of the week's work of your course. And, they've said great things about it. And even just looking at my own review or your own reviews online, it sort of, gave me that just a bit more confidence that, I've watched a few of your YouTube videos as well, just gave me a bit more confidence into diving in and signing up for your course. And that's how I took it. And here I am.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad that your friend did that.
Yeah.
So like, fast forward now, maybe 2 months, or not, a little bit more than 2 months. So you started the course in May, you were saying, You kind of went through it, but in earnest, you started looking for properties in
Hmm.
June end, and
Yep.
now you've got one. So it's taken about a couple of months since you actually
Yep.
started. Like for people who are watching, and kind of doing what you did, or on YouTube, on
Hmm.
forums, on articles, what are like maybe the top one, two, three, whatever gold nuggets of wisdom that now you can impart to them?
Hmm.
Or what are the key learnings from the course?
Yep.
What would you have loved to hear or know
Hmm.
when you were 4 months,
Yep.
in history?
Yep. I would say the key gem that I would say would be the data. Knowing what data to look into and how to read and understand the data, I would say would be the key points. I mean, anyone can type up a random suburb in realestate.com or domain, and then it will just spit out figures. You wouldn't know what you're looking at.
Yeah,
So my key tip would be understanding the data and knowing the factors that's in your course that you go through. That would be my major takeaway, and also knowing when to walk away and knowing, I guess, which battles to win, and which ones that you can back away from. So especially being in this hot market, I've learned to walk away from certain, obviously, offers that have been up there. I mean, there's always another more shinier one down the track, as I like to say.
yeah.
But yeah, just knowing, what is your appetite, and how much you're willing to spend is another key point that I would probably make aware to newcomers.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
And just to kind of, make this real,
Mm.
how many offers did you actually put before you got this one accepted?
I would probably say at least 10 to 15.
10 to 15.
10 to 15 offers on 10 to 15 different properties. Again, it comes down to knowing which battles to pick and choose. Because don't forget, guys, we're out there with, emotional buyers as one of them,
Yeah.
first home buyers as well. So you just got to know when. And if the right one comes, you just got to go in for it. Not be too aggressive, but also just be assertive and show that you're a serious buyer. And then, offers come your way.
Yeah, brilliant. And so what did you do next? Like, so you've used the data to select one or two suburbs,
Yep.
presumably. You've found the property, you've
Mhm.
missed out on a number of properties, you've got this one accepted.
Yep.
Like, just tell everyone about the how of property investing. So you've used the data
Mhm.
to select where, and you've got it.
Mhm.
Now you're unconditional on the property. What are like the key steps that you've gone through from initially having that offer accepted to now being unconditional?
Yep. So it's all about, I guess, building and keeping that rapport with your property managers, that agent, the conveyancers. It's just maintaining that relationship and making sure that transition going into that, the first contract of sale even, or going into the unconditional period is smooth. Keeping open lines of communication. You gotta be on top of who you're dealing with. That's one thing I've learned as well. I guess you got to be on top of which offers that you've made, and keep on top of the relationship that you've built, because they eventually will get you across the line at the end. So your conveyancers, your real estate agents, and also the property managers that you speak with. So I found that quite important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a team sport. Like, we can use the data
Yeah.
to select a suburb, but the ability to execute upon it relies or requires that team, which did you
Yeah.
use the team that I provided, or did you already have a team or a combination?
Yeah. So what happened was, I used some of your team that you provided, especially the conveyancer.
Yeah.
Really awesome. The property managers, given there's so many going around, and
Yeah.
obviously there's only one of them, right? So I reached out myself to certain and other sort of property managers that I built great relationships personally. So I mean, they all worked out well, and
Perfect.
I guess the more team players that you get on board, I mean, it's the more doors that open for you, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I found it to work really
No,
well
no,
with me.
100%. And
Yeah.
let's just deep dive on that for a sec, because I know,
Mm.
like, I just released a video on how to buy interstate. I was
Yeah.
interviewing a property manager for people who are like in Sydney, Melbourne, they want to buy in Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, regional areas.
Hmm.
So you've just said you found your own property manager,
Hmm.
I provide you, but you
Yep.
just found your own. So like, how did you actually do that for everyone
Yep.
who's watching?
Of course. Yeah. So it's again comes down to your own due diligence and research. There's always online, or Rate My Agent is a great place to start. So I found a few from there, and obviously from then on, it's just like a cascade. You start getting introduced, or you get referred from agents that you talk to day by day, and you just ask the question, like, do you have any property managers? It's just simple as that. I found mine literally just through word of mouth of asking a certain house that was on sale, and I asked them if they had a property manager within the area that they could recommend, and I reached out myself and built that rapport. It's very easy. I mean, the property managers are very nice. They're always there to help, and they obviously want to build up their customer database as well. So you're a gold mine for them, if you do reach out.
Yeah, I find the same thing. Like, property managers are like really, really nice people. Agents are obviously good human beings as well, but they have their purpose. They're trying to sell you something, but property managers really on your side. So
correct.
Yeah, you got to be best friends with property managers, the most important part of the team for sure.
I agree.
And so from hearing you speak, it doesn't seem like any of this was like rocket science, how much or how many hours per week did you put into this, or did you find this to be difficult? Would you think that, hey, I've done so much hard work, next time I'm just going to outsource to a buyer's agent? Just talk to me about the difficulty of this.
Look, let's be real here. Your course, or the course in itself, the accelerator property accelerator course, you need to invest time. Just like anything, it's not a sleepover or the next day it's going to come like that to you. You honestly have to dedicate some time into it. And I followed the course as you suggested. So I'm dedicating anywhere between 5 to 6 hours a week, and that's really dumbing it down to my own, my terminology that I can understand it. Some people will be quicker or faster. But yeah, that's all it is. And then once you've actually understood it, you've worked the numbers, you understand the terminology. I've asked dozens of questions on the mentorship nights on Tuesdays. And as long as you follow that pattern, I don't think it was difficult at all. It all fell into place. And as you progress and you do those actions that you suggest during those weeks and those courses, you start seeing it gel, and then that's it. It all happens.
Yeah. So, Oh, it's good. It's good to hear. It's like, when I first made this course 5 years ago, it was like, I've had like 500 clients since then, but it's always good to hear this. It's like, it actually worked. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So there's the course, and then, every week we do mentorship calls over Zoom, group coaching, live interactive Q&A. There's the community forum, etc. Normally people who are thinking about doing the course, they sort of think, I'm going to need so much hand holding. I'm going to need PK to tell me the answer to every single thing. I'm going to hound him. I'm going to have a million questions. You had some questions like over the mentorship calls, but like, this is the first time we're actually speaking like this.
I've only had probably 5 questions, honestly, like 5 solid questions that I needed your help with during those mentorship calls. And that's it. Everything else was like a on-the-job sort of coaching and learning process. And it's not that difficult. It's a matter of just picking up the phone, going through step by step what you say, what to do. You've already provided the templates. So it's just a matter of the person itself gaining that confidence and just doing it. That's all it is.
Yeah. I think that's well said. Like, a course, my course, any course is not like a magic, flick of a switch on a wall. You need to get it, but then you need to actually implement it. It sounds like you've just followed the process to the T, kind of, focused, head down, which is exactly what we need to see.
That's right. And look, some of the stuff in the course, when you wrote it, some of it may not apply to now because of it's such a hot market, right? And there's certain points, I'll be real, there's certain points here that may not be ideal at this current point of time, but you just adapt to it. Like for an example, like now, if you're trying to obviously negotiate and cut down prices and finding discount rates, some of it might not work. Some of it will. Don't get me wrong, certain areas will. But yeah, in a hot market especially, you just got to be persistent. And you just, like I said before, you just got to know when to pick and choose your battles, when you can, when you can't. And don't take it too personal.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think this is really good. I like that you're being real, because like in the course, we teach people how to negotiate, right?
Yep.
But that may not always be applicable in the
Correct.
biggest boom we've seen in the last 20 years. Right?
That's right. That's right.
So that's where the mentorship calls are there for, like how to deal with an agent in a hot
Yeah.
market, how to negotiate in a hot market. You can't get a property 20% off. Like it's just not
Nah.
possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're saying this, because it's like, it's just the real stuff. And I want, even if people aren't, even if you're watching and if you're like, I don't want to do this course, but you're still trying to get 10% off in a hot market, then you're just going to be spinning your wheels. It's better to get in, ride the wave, than be on the sideline trying to get the perfect deal while the train moves, right?
That's right. I agree. 100%.
And then just kind of lastly, Kevin, if we zoom out for a second, so you didn't actually have any properties before this, right? So first investment property.
Zero.
Like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I don't know, 20 years from now, like what's your objective? Why are you doing all this in the first place?
So obviously I want to grow my portfolio. That's first and foremost. I've got the first one down pat now. The second one's going to come at a breeze. It's I know the ins and outs now of what the data to look for. So that whole process moving forward, the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth is going to be a cinch. So 20 years from now, hopefully we've got some money saved and, things keep going and moving the way we are. I want to buy in Sydney. So that's the ultimate goal,
The 4 million.
The 4 million. Hopefully we don't get our price by that time. But look, in saying that, whatever the price is down the track, 20 years time, if I can buy in Sydney, fantastic. If not, I've still got this passive income coming in, which, it makes your lifestyle a bit more easier. And hopefully by that time, COVID's not around anymore. We can travel, go out and do things we enjoy, spend time with family.
Yeah.
I mean, the main goal is to have passive income rolling in. And later on down the track, if we can buy in Sydney, because my livelihood's down here, family and friends all here. That's the end game.
Yeah, fair enough. Or you could come up to Brisbane where we're COVID.
Or Brisbane, or move into one of those properties that I've invested in and eventually move down there.
No, there you go. And that's what it's all about, right? And just kind of one last question as well, Kevin. I just really want people to know this. From this point on, are you confident that you can rinse and repeat this? Do you really need to pay me any more money? Do you need to pay a buyer's agent any more money? Or are you self-reliant now?
To be honest, I am pretty much confident. I'm 95% confident of going on and, reusing the same strategies, following the same data, following the same sort of steps that you've guided me through. Obviously, there will be some questions along the way, which I'm thankful that you're still there, which is another bonus to ask you, certain things that I may have not come across. But I'm pretty sure I would not need a buyer's agent or spend 15K, dropping money on flights to go interstate to see a property face to face, when I've got the tools now to actually go and build relationships over the phone with any local PM that's there, an agent, and still be comfortable in buying interstate.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. And for anyone who's watching, right, if you want videos or these types of episodes where we dig deeper, so Kevin went into the negotiation bit a little bit, he went into the property management side a little bit. If you guys want more deep dive aspects of my client interviews, things that we can really expose and reveal, leave a yes below, YES. But I just really want to emphasize, the course takes time. It takes, let's say, on average 4 to 5 hours. Let's just call it an even 5 hours a week. If you do that, you can buy a property within a couple of months or so. It's not for everyone. It's a pretty expensive course. Check it out on my website. But I just want to say as well that if you are a little bit like where Kevin was 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 4 years ago, by the sounds of it, and you're just spinning your wheels, you're going around in circles on realestate.com, spending hours, guys, there's a better way to do it. You can try learn for free. There's so much content out there. I know it's overwhelming, but the key message is, if you have a little bit of time, if you have a little bit of interest, you don't need a buyer's agent. You can do this with a bit of professional help. Kevin, lastly, anything else that you wanted to add?
Look, guys, I 100% recommend PK's course. I mean, it's legit. It's not a scam.
Did you think it was a scam?
I'm quite a skeptic. But look, until you do it and you take that jump, into it, you won't regret it, you know. And like I said before, and PK said it a dozen times, like, do your due diligence. There's a myriad of free information out there that you don't have to spend money on. But then again, it comes down to the time and effort that you want to put in. So if you can dedicate your time, you know, really focus on this course. It's only 6 weeks. And then after that, it actually sets you up, you know, for life, I'd say, for in future. You can buy property without having any issues.
Well said. Well said. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, my friend, for taking time. Kevin, I really
Pleasure.
appreciate it. And yeah, congratulations. I mean, it's not every day that someone gets a positive cash flow property under 450K interstate. You've executed well, and yeah, always here to answer questions.
Yep. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.